boundaries go to die. I have to tell you right now, last time I did this, it wasn't supposed to be the regular show. I was supposed to wait and just test some stuff. That was the plan. Make sure the phone lines worked, make sure the lighting was good, which by the way is horrible right now. I have to find a different time to do this. I got sun coming in the studio, and but I want to do this so bad. So that's what's happening right there. But last time I did it, it turned out to be pretty magical. And I'm very excited about this. It's exactly what I wanted this whole thing to be. It's just a show. We're strangers. Call in. I'm going to give you the phone number here. I'm going to put the phone number up right on the screen here in a second. It's where strangers call in. And then I'm going to ask you a question. It's the kind of question that'll be a little cringy, make you feel a little uncomfortable. Actually, it's designed for both of us to feel uncomfortable. I feel weird asking some of these tough questions. I feel weird doing that. But I'm going to do it. It was so fun last time. The goal is to get right to it as quickly as possible. And the first question out of my mouth, like I said, is not going to be cute. It's not going to be easy. It takes a very special person to call the number that I'm going to put on the screen right now. But let's have a conversation. Let's become friends. That's what this whole thing is truly about. Like I said, that question's going to sting a little bit, but that's exactly where I want the show to start. I don't like small talk. Small talk to me is it's kind of for people that are afraid to connect. And I've been working on connecting more with people. I feel that in my lifetime, I've kind of pushed people to the side and I'm really not appreciating them for who they are. And I want you to appreciate me for who I am. And this is a great way to get to know each other. It's not an interview show. Yes, I ask the first question, but we're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk. Feel free to ask me questions, but let's keep it on point. Let's keep it on subject. I appreciate everybody that listens to the Lex and Terry radio show, and the comments have been really cool about that. But let's try to keep that to a minimum if we can. All right. All that surface level stuff, I don't want. I want that uncomfortable thing. And this is a show for people to actually be seen. Oh boy, that's fun. That's fun. Jesus Christ. How do I turn that off? Anyway, that's my Ring camera. That's going to have to be fixed, isn't it? So don't flinch. Don't do anything like that. But I'm looking at the chat. Hello, Matt. Good to see you. Love having you here. Thank you so much. Been married 21 years. You haven't steered. I love that. But no, you got to call the show, Matt. You have to call. If anybody wants to join the show, you have to call. Okay. And I'm going to put that phone number up there right now. Let me go ahead and do that and just call. And we're going to take it from there. Like I said, I really want to just see where this whole thing goes, if you don't mind. All right. Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of that thing. Let me get rid of that. Okay. Once again, I'm sorry about the whole thing, but for those of you that are here, I really appreciate it. We're streaming live right now on YouTube. We're streaming live right now on Twitch and also my Facebook page. So thanks for everybody joining. That phone number is for you to call. Like I said, Jesus Christ, how do I turn that thing off? How do I turn that off? This is going to drive me crazy. Motion, there we go. Front doors. Okay, there we go. Snooze for 2 hours. Hopefully that fixed that whole thing. So call that number and I'll just wait. I mean, we had a couple of great calls when I was just testing the equipment, but I'm considering this one the very first show. I'm going to do this different times of the day, different days of the week. My goal is to do this at least 2 more times this week. I'm having a blast doing it, so welcome. And this is called Make It Weird, where, like I said, where boundaries go to die. It is so fun to do this thing, but it's going to take you guys to call. It's going to take you guys to call that thing. And I'll ask you a good question right out of the box. Just waiting. Just waiting. That phone number listed on the screen. It's waiting for you right now. Okay? You know, a lot of people have been asking me, Is this your next big thing? And the truth is, I I used to look at things like that. Maybe this is going to be a big thing. Maybe this is going to be something that's going to really excite me and excite other people. But I'm not really looking at it that way. All right. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let me do this. Where is it? Audio. Let's try this. Bubbity bubbity boo. Okay, come on. I knew this. I knew this was going to be weird. I'm working on some stuff, as you can tell. Somebody's just called, and I don't know why the ring went through, but the calling's not going through. One moment. Are you still there? All right, let's see here. Gonna hang up on that. We're gonna try that again. Call that number, please. It worked great last time. Hey, this is what's so fun about this. This is live. This is the thing that I love the most. This streaming live is a blast. So if you could call that number, whoever just tried to call, it was from Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, we're going to try this. Audio. Hey, hi, what's your name?
Is it Terry?
Yeah, what's your name?
Okay, sorry. I was getting feedback from your live feed. What's up? This is Matt in Jacksonville.
Hey, Matt. Okay, hold on a second here. What's the biggest lie you tell yourself?
The biggest lie that I tell myself, that I'm a good person.
What is it about you where you think that, where you falling short?
I think I'm falling short in the fact that I try to do good things, but I do them for the wrong reasons. Like, I'll do a good thing for somebody, but like in the back of my mind, deep down in my soul, I always have an ulterior motive of some sort. And it may not be the best ulterior motive. It may be just something really simple and stupid, like, hey, I want to push my business a little bit further, or something like that. Or it may be something really sadistic, like, man, I would really like to nail this chick, or something like that, or something like that. But I really think a lot of my good deeds come from a dark place of ulterior motives.
So they're not
So,
they're not unconditional, is what you're saying.
right, right.
Have you tried doing the unconditional stuff?
In the back of my mind, I always kind of feel that doing unconditional stuff always comes back to bite you in the ass.
You know,
Like,
yeah, I can see what you say, because they're, good people usually have a line. They do unconditional things, they do them and they do them and they do them. And sometimes you want a response, sometimes you want to thank you, sometimes you want something out of it. But for do it for a motive like for more business or to get the girl, I mean, usually people could see through that right away. But people do have a line. I know that I've practiced unconditional stuff my entire life. And I too have a problem when I get to a line, I go, you know what? I don't get mad at the person. I don't get mad at myself. I just kind of go, you know what? I'm kind of done with this person. I feel like I've been taken advantage of.
and I've tried to follow your philosophy over the years, and I think let me ask you a question, if you don't mind.
No, this is what we're talking. That's what this is.
So early on, and I know you don't want to go to the whole LNT thing, but I followed your career for many years. And very early in your career, you were really into the whole, kind of a little bit of the debauchery, dick jokes, and all that stuff. And, many years ago, I saw you change as a person as far as your whole philosophy on life. What now, was that just something to where you were actually letting your true personality come out finally, instead of this facade you're putting up for the radio? Or did something actually happen to make you change your whole philosophy and personality?
Well, first of all, I believe you could be both. I believe that I know what my job was and is. My job is to mix it up a little bit and have some fun, be a little controversial, call somebody a name every once in a while. But I would never have got this job or this opportunity had I not looked at the world the way I do now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Bottom line, I've always been this way. I've been very afraid to show it. If you remember a long time ago, I tried to do a podcast called Terry James Alive.
Yeah.
And this was when podcasts first started.
Right.
And that was my coming out, so to speak. And I was afraid to do it because I knew that I would get a lot of people calling the show and a lot of people calling me and saying, "Oh, you big homo, you big this, you big that," and
Right.
I put up with it. I knew it was coming. But no,
Yeah.
I believe you could be a good person, but I also believe, that, hey, that linebacker goes and takes somebody's head off, but could take him out to dinner the same night.
Yeah. I remember when you did the whole Terry James Alive thing, and that's when I first saw you. I was like, this is totally not the same Terry that I have, listened to over the years. This is a totally different animal in person. And I think it's really cool. And over the years, I've told you, I think it's really cool how you have tried to make the world a better place. And now you're letting that come out and show people that, hey, this is who I really am. This other guy that you listen to in the mornings, I kind of do that because that's my job. But this is who I really am.
Yeah, and that's what I was hoping to get across. And I knew that I would lose some people along the way, but I've always tried to be true to myself. And I'll be honest, sometimes on the way home from the Lex and Terry show, I'd be driving home and I would say to myself, did you really have to call that woman a bitch just to get a laugh? Did you really have to do that? But I'm not apologizing for it. That's what the show is. There's that side of me. If that wasn't in me, I wouldn't be able to do it. So there, I got a little scoundrel in me, and I
Yeah.
like that. I like keeping things alive. But yes, I've always viewed my life in somewhat of a metaphysical way. Or
Right.
if you're spiritual, it could be the do unto others. You know,
And I've kind of like in the past couple of years, I've kind of sort of have taken a self-reflective page. Maybe a little bit's come from you, maybe a little bit's come from my own philosophy, but I've kind of developed my own personal mantra over the years, and I call it the 4 F's of life.
yeah. And what are
I
those?
tell if you're not feeling me, like you're not feeling my vibe, you're not feeding me, feeding, you're not financing me,
Okay.
or you're not, the 4th F, I guess you can figure out,
Yes, absolutely.
then I don't want you or need you in my life. You're a waste of time for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like my wife's thing. She does a thing. She calls it the 3 F's. If it flies, if it floats, or if it, the F word, rent
Yeah.
it, rent it. That's her thing. But no, I understand that. I believe that I am where I am today, which isn't, I've had some real big highs. I've had some big lows. I've had some mediums. I'm kind of in a medium stage of my life right now. And I think that, I, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. I just always want to be the same guy. I really do, but I also want to grow. I also want, I'm always looking to grow. And I
As
love
a
it.
middle,
And I've really made the best thing I ever did was like you were talking about. I hung out with good people. I surround myself with good people. And I'm very good at sensing when somebody's up to no good or they have an ulterior motive. And it's not like I'm mean. I'm not like, screw you. I don't need you in my life. I don't need to make a big statement. I just need to move on with my life, just have to get
right.
going. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
The hardest thing for a middle-aged adult male in today's society is to be able to grow as a person. I truly believe that. To be able to get out of your shell and grow as a person, especially for middle-aged men, because we were raised to be, the super tough guy and, we do this and we do that. And it's really hard for us to look at the world and be like, you know what, that's not right. I need to change as a person. That's really, really hard. At least for me, it is. And I consider myself a middle-aged adult male. So,
Yeah, what is your biggest fear right now? Because hey, even though some guys seem to have it gathered together, I know that they got a lot of fears. What is your biggest fear right now?
honestly, my biggest fear, and I'm kind of going through it right now, is that my kid turns out like me. Because I'm not the greatest parent, I'm not the greatest adult, and my biggest fear in life is that my kid turn out like me, and I can see it happening right before my eyes, and I did not want that to happen,
What is
and it's
one of
happening,
Okay, well then
and it's scaring the crap out of me.
what is the one of the traits that your child has that you have that they've picked up on that you wish you didn't pass down?
Laziness.
All right. You know, it's not too late to turn it around. We all have our lazy moments, but it's never too late to turn it around. Do you think it's too late to sit your kid down and go, listen, I'm scared. I'm scared you're turning into me. So I'm going to go ahead and try to lead by example. Do you think it's,
No, I don't think it's too late for her, but again, like I'm middle aged and I'm almost set in my ways, and so trying to change my whole being to
uh,
self motivate is the hardest thing in the world to do, without a doubt.
you know what? It is, but you have to ask yourself what's important to you.
Right.
And it's really self-motivation is basically just making a decision to do something and honoring yourself while you're doing it. And I did this thing, I posted this thing on my Instagram page over the weekend. It's knowing your how. I mean, your why, not your how. There's so many ways to get things done. There's so many ways to do that. But when you attach a real strong motivational feeling behind getting something done or doing something, whether it's to get in shape, to be with to be with your child longer, to play with them in the yard, to do all that kind of stuff, when you attach something really strong to something you want to do, you will find a way to do it. And
And
I
I do
don't.
find a way. I do find a way to do things. I think my biggest, my biggest, I guess, trait that I do have, that my biggest positivity that I look at myself upon, is I'm not a very good planner, and I'm probably not a really good executor. But when someone puts a plan in place and it gets executed poorly and shit goes south, I'm really good at stepping in and saying, okay, this is what we need to do to fix it.
Mhm.
Now, if only I could get myself to plan and exit, if I could only get the first two steps down pat, rather than just being the cleanup guy, I think I would be a lot better in life. But it's just really hard for me to wrap my head around being able to do that, I guess.
There's a saying that when you argue for your limitations, they're yours. And right now it just seems to me like you're arguing for your limitation. You know, you're saying that you're acknowledging, it's cool that you're acknowledging where you're falling short, but you just stop there. You know, and I've done the same thing. I do the same thing all the time. I tell myself constantly, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that, you know, and it's just nothing but a waste of time, man. Don't you think so?
Yeah, but it's easy. Sometimes it's easier to accept defeat than to try and move forward to win.
Yeah, have you tried?
I tried, but
Have you
when
taken the brave step and just fallen and then
I guess
get
I'm scared to take the brave step, because what if, again, you know, looking at my limitations, what if I fail? What if I fall?
we already are failing? So what do you got to lose?
Mm,
You know, you sound like a great guy. You sound like
well,
a great guy, and I've seen your messages in the past. You know, you've been around for a while, and I really appreciate you. You seem like a great guy. Why don't you just show everybody how cool you are? You know, don't be afraid, man.
I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to. It's just, it gets You just get tired at a certain point.
Listen, I know what you're saying. I have been so tired of getting beat down and beat down. How many podcasts have you seen me try? How many, how many times have you seen me just,
Your best ones were with Sherry.
oh, we're going to be doing those again soon. We've got a more gang of two happening. But out of all the things that I've done, out of all the things that I'm doing, this one really means something to me. This one right here. I could do something, I could get celebrities on all the time. I could do all that kind of stuff. I've got a nice, phone book full of people,
Yeah.
over their careers. I could do that. I don't want to do that. I want to have real talks with real people. And the last show that I did, I got some great advice from people. I'm getting inspired from you right now because I know where I've fallen short and I kind of push it to the side and I haven't really brought it up to myself, and, after tonight, I know that when I go to this bed, I'm going to be thinking of this conversation I had with you. And I'm going to be
Oh,
thinking,
cool.
you know what? I can do better. I
Yeah.
can do better. We can all do better. But it's okay to screw up. It's okay to fail. Failing is, that's where you learn. It's one of those people always say that, all the self-help bullcrap people, but
Yeah.
it's true. I have learned something. I'll tell you right now, out of all of my failed podcasts, people call them failures, but they're not for me because I learned something out of every one. One podcast I did, I learned how to edit better. Another one, I learned how to mic things. Right now, I'm going to learn how to do some lighting, for Christ's sake. This is pretty tough, but you learn something every time. And
Yeah.
a failed relationship with a girl, you learn something. You go, wow, she did that. What I was doing didn't sit well with her. Probably doesn't sit well with most women. I have to change that aspect out of me. And if
Yeah.
you sat down and you made a list of things that you wanted to change, which I have done, I have made an entire painful list of things that I want to change. And maybe one day I'll share that. I still have the list. It was about 56 different things. And I've checked off maybe half of them. And I started making that list when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
And I've been working on it ever since. I am a screw up. I I don't, I'm not the person I want to be. I'm not where I want to be in life.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason. One of my biggest fears right now is one of the reasons I'm doing this is I am scared out of my mind about retirement. I'm scared out of my mind about not having enough money. My wife and I don't have children. Who's going to take care of us? Who's going to do that?
Yeah.
I now am working triple time trying to figure this stuff out to try to get some money just for that. Just so chances are, I'm a little older than Sherry. I'm like 4 or 5 years older than Sherry. And chances are, women live longer than men. I'm so afraid that she's going to be left with nothing and alone this is all I think about. And I feel like a failure because I don't have enough money in the bank. It's
Right.
not to retire. It's just to make sure that people don't abuse us as we get older.
There you go. All right.
So bottom
Well,
line, I wouldn't worry about this, Matt. Mike? Is it Matt?
Yeah.
Mike. It's Matt, right?
Matt. Yeah, Matt.
Okay.
I'm with you too.
You
Yeah.
you paused and I went, oh shit, maybe I got his name wrong.
No, no, no. No.
So dude, please stay in touch. Please keep
Yeah,
emailing me
absolutely.
and don't be afraid to get a hold of me and let me know some of the things that you're working on. If I have time, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
I'll help you through this because I think you've helped me immensely right now.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
I appreciate
And
you.
you saying that I have helped you actually kind of helps me.
Yeah, well,
So,
yeah.
but I'm going to let some other people help you now. So I'm going to go ahead and drop them.
God
and let
knows I
some
need
other
it.
people.
Matt, I appreciate you more than you know, and I'm glad I got to talk to you. I really am. So thank you so much, buddy.
You're welcome.
All right,
I
bye-bye.
have. Bye.
All right, if anybody else would like to call, we'll start off with another question, another heavy question. I love the fact that Matt was strong enough to do that. Let me go ahead and put that phone number up again for you guys. Let me see here. And there you go. Call that number. Some other people did try to call through. I hope that I didn't pause the phone calls from coming in. So, yeah, I really appreciate that. That's really cool. You know, like I was about to talk about when things were going on before he called, is that people are always asking, "What's your next big thing that you have planned?" And I finally got to this weird place in my life right now where, except for not having the money that I needed, the fears, I think I'm good. I think I'm good as far as that I accidentally feel like I'm freed up enough now to do the things that I really love with, I don't know, hesitancy, just no worries, just doing it. So if anybody else wants to call that number, I would love to talk to somebody. I'm going to throw a tough question at you, but we're going to have a good conversation. And I appreciate Matt for doing that. Thank you so much. There's some really cool chats in the chat room. For those of you, I haven't been able to read all of them because I'm trying to talk. But yeah, it's very good to see you guys, and I really do appreciate it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Matt say, I hope it didn't pause calls either. Somebody just try to call me, and just to say hi, and then we'll try that. We'll see if that works. But I hope I didn't pause calls. If not, I've got so many things to learn about. You know, that's another thing. If you're sitting around waiting for everything to be perfect, I could have done this and started this 2 years from now when everything would be perfect. You know, the lighting would be perfect. I'd know how to use the equipment better. I know, but and just like Matt there, if I waited any longer, I wouldn't do it. You know, people wait so long for things to be right. When my kids are old enough, when my kids graduate, when I move, when I do this, when I lose 10 pounds, when I do that. And you're doing nothing but wasting your time doing that. All right, let me try to do this. Hang on a second here. And hi, who's this?
This is Shelly. How you been doing?
Hi, Shelly. How are you?
I'm fine.
Are you ready?
We haven't talked in forever.
Are you ready for this?
Let's go.
What's the last thing you had to apologize for?
Oh my gosh. I had to apologize probably to my daughters for being, I got a bad temper. I got a bad temper.
What's a bad temper? Do you throw things? You call them names? What happens how do you feel about yourself when that happens in that moment? Because I'm Irish and I do have a temper. I can't, you've heard the people on the radio shows say, man, I'm quick to react. And it's something I've been working on. So I can hopefully help you out here.
Okay. We were at a public setting and her mother-in-law was there. And she proceeded to tell my granddaughter that she couldn't work hard at stuff. And I worked really hard raising my daughters to be go-getters and always fight for what you want, and just whatever you think you can do, you can achieve it. And this mother-in-law tells my granddaughter she can't do anything. And man, I just went off at the whole table. Said, don't you ever tell my granddaughter she cannot achieve what she's fighting for. And she started crying when I told her that. So yeah, I had to apologize to everybody in public.
Yeah, but that was something worth fighting for, don't you think?
Yes, but I could have been a little bit more tactful.
See, that's the thing. That's where you got me, man. I would have been so happy and proud of myself that I stood up for myself.
Make her cry though. That just like ruins family functions later on down the road.
Oh yeah, you know what? There's going to be plenty more to ruin as well. You know, your heart was in the right place. I don't know if you really needed to apologize for that.
Well, I didn't mean to make her cry. I really
that's
didn't.
true. So, but the message was right, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I wrote my daughter a little message later on after the function. I said, "Listen," I said, "you have worked hard in your life, and you have raised a good daughter, and I just want things to be where she is not told that she has to stop or she can't do something." So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough thing. Like I said, I also have the thing where I need to take a breath sometimes when I see things. When I
you've
see things
always been a
online.
go getter, though.
What's that?
You have always been a go getter.
Well,
You told me at a bad time in my life that I had to keep persevering, and I was glad that you said that to me.
I
So,
like I was talking to Matt about it, I do think you have to just keep going. I think that you die if you stop.
oh yeah.
And if you give in, you die if you give in. It's so in my mind, like I said, there's no failing. There's things that I've done like you just talked about where I've been, oh, why did I do that? You know, I there's a few moments in my life, very few that I regret. You know, everybody goes, I don't have any regrets. You know, those people that say that, I'm very either I think they're lying or I think that I'm jealous of them because
Oh my gosh. Who is perfect? Nobody's perfect.
yeah, I've got
There's no way. I can't believe that.
yeah, I've got a lot of regrets, and some of them are way heavy on me. And a lot of regrets in the form of what ifs. What if I would have done this earlier? What if I would have done that? What if this would have happened? And
No,
it's a giant waste of time to do that.
I think those kind you need to just scoot to the side because those are past events. I think you need to look forward always to something better in your life or something that you want to strive for. I think those are the important things.
So, what are you looking forward to?
I I have been living some of my looking forward to things.
God, I love hearing that.
Um,
I love hearing that. I can't
I
get the
just
smile.
went.
I love that. I love these. I love it when people are happy.
I retired.
Oh
Um,
man,
I used to live in Jacksonville. That's where we met each other. I
Mhm.
ride a Harley. I still ride a Harley.
Good for you.
I just got back from Hawaii. I I put myself on a plan when I left Florida. I went through a bad time. I went through a divorce, and I decided to come back and take over my family farm. Uh, got myself. I opened up a business. I ran a daycare. Uh, I'm retired. I'm comfortable on the income. I don't live over my means, but I don't I don't live under them, so I'm comfortable. Um, do a lot of homegrown food and things like that, which help on the income. But I'm able to still plan a nice vacation. Like year before last, I went to Bonaire, went diving. This year, I went to Hawaii, went diving. Well, I like to dive.
Obviously, nice, nice. No, I love hearing this. I love hearing you laugh. This is so good. You know, it's funny because my wife makes fun of me.
Wow.
When I see people that are laughing in a car, I kind of tear up a little bit because I just love seeing people happy. It is,
Laughter is contagious. Go to a yoga class. They have a special yoga class that teaches you to laugh, and you just feel good from laughing in there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel that because I get to laugh every morning with my friends on a radio show and everything, I feel that that's added years to my life. I hope it has anyway.
I think it makes you a better person if you
Well,
have a sense of humor.
I hope it has. So you went through a divorce and you went through a tough time.
Oh
A-
yeah.
And maybe somebody's watching this right now.
Mhm.
What would you tell them if they were going through that? What kind of
Um,
words of wisdom do you have for them? Because that's a tough thing. I haven't gone through it. I wish I had some days.
No, you don't.
Yeah, come on, man. It's 32 years. You know, there's some ups and downs.
No, you don't either. She's a sweetheart. I had a really bad time. In fact, you and Lex got a private investigator to find out where my husband was.
Did, did we really? It's so weird. I'm not even
Yes,
remembering these things.
I remembered because boy, it made a change for me.
Yeah.
I was in a bad spot. He had taken off. I had no money. I had a nice house, but I was broke as a oh man, I was broke. And I had two little girls. I was like, what the hell am I doing now?
Yeah. Well,
But that that right there made me a strong person. I got up. I had to sell the house, but that was okay. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna back step just a little bit.
mhm.
And I got my shit together. I moved to Kentucky. I bought my family's farm. I took my money. I built a house here. Just
So what you're telling the other people that may have gone through this is that it's going to be tough, and I think it's important for people to acknowledge that this is going to suck for a while. And
oh
just
God,
when
yeah,
you make a list of all these things that are going to suck. Financially, it's going to suck. I'm going to have to move my career, my this, my that, my family, my friends, all the people looking weird at me. And then you make that list and you think, okay, I got everything covered of all the things that are going to suck. And then out of nowhere, 40 more things show up that are going to suck. But you know what? You got through it all. And
oh yeah.
I love how hearing how happy you are. And I hope that people are getting some inspiration and power from you. I think it's great.
That list you offered, that was one of my life saving graces. I had a list, and when I accomplished one, I'd check it off
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'd move on. That was a saving grace for me. That kept me going and realizing I had better things in my future.
That is awesome. So thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate you. It's good to hear from you, and I love hearing how you've not survived, just how you crushed it. You know, surviving is just getting by and going, "Whoo, I made it." No,
No,
you
I
crushed it.
I stepped up and I kicked ass.
All right, I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah,
You have a nice evening, Terry.
you too. All right. Do you think we have time for one more? Do we need to do one more here or not? Okay, because we can. But I got one more heavy question for those of you that are just tuning in. Hello to everybody on Twitch. It's good to see you guys here. Please subscribe and like it and all that. And the same for Facebook. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much. And YouTube. Thank you to everybody on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, comment, and do all that stuff that they ask you to do. I feel cheesy asking for it. You know, it's really strange because I've been doing all these things to where, part of the, like I was talking earlier, hold on a second. I'm going to put the phone number up again. I was talking earlier about just how you kind of don't do things because you're afraid to do it. And that's kind of what this was. I was kind of afraid to do this because I didn't know if anybody would call. I didn't know if anybody would understand this. I had to push aside my imposter syndrome for this. There's a lot of who do you think you are thinking that this could be something? Who do you think you are that you can help people? Who do you think you are that you could have all these great conversations? I do this to myself all the time. And I've pushed a lot of things to the side just for this show alone. And no more planning. I was going to work on all the plans and do all the this and all the questions and everything else. And I've got just enough to do today's show. But I'm working on other things. If anybody else would like to call, please call that number, and we're going to have a very good conversation. And we are going to start from an uncomfortable spot, which is I'm finding out is really, really cool. And if not, I'm going to go ahead and move on and call it a day, but I'm going to go ahead and give you guys just a few more seconds. And thank you guys so much for liking and sharing and doing all that crap. I've been trying to learn how to do YouTube, trying to learn how to edit things. And now this is a fear of mine too. If you guys know anything about the radio show, I've had somebody turn my microphone on for the last 30 years. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So I've been watching YouTube video after YouTube video on how to do a YouTube show. And I'm done. I'm done learning how to make a YouTube show. I'm just going to do this thing right now. So let's try this. And now I'm learning how to do this, which is super cool. Hey, give me your name.
It's Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
I'm just fine. I'm surprised it got through because usually you have a million calls at one time.
Well, this is good to hear from you. Let me ask you your question. All right, let's see here.
Okay.
Is there somebody you still think about?
Yeah,
Who?
good call. Well, I think about my friend Lisa. Well, you mean in a romantic sense?
No,
Or
they're just somebody that's always on your mind, and you kind of wish either they're no longer around, or you kind of wish maybe you had made amends with them or something like that, or a date.
Okay, so she still is my best friend, but had been best friends ever since she was 2 and I was 3. We met in ballet school, and then we had a falling out in 2005. We hadn't talked since then. Now, and she was really estranged. But now I'm talking to her daughter. Her mom, Lisa, knows I'm talking to her. And she doesn't have a problem with it, and she's aware of it, and it's like no big deal to her. And Raven talks to me all the time, her daughter, on Facebook and stuff like that. And this was like the first time, and God knows how long, I finally got some communication out of the two. But her mom is still like all walls, won't talk to me at all.
And why is that?
That's a good question. I don't know why she won't let me be her friend again. I mean, it's like she's got a wall up.
Yeah, but you know why. You know what the reason is. What is it?
Well, okay, so we had a falling out. So my mom had passed. We went through a terrible time. And she told me that I was kind of like, I guess, insensitive to her.
Okay. All right.
I really, to be quite honest with you, and I've apologized for that. And she says, sometimes I think about my problems and not think about her problems. And I don't realize I've done that. But I still think, even though that maybe seemed kind of selfish on my part, this is a long time not talking to me and writing me off. I think, we can work through that.
Yeah, I can see that. I have some friends that are a lot about them, and they don't think they are like that, but they are. And it's tough to deal with, but she's telling you that, that you're making everything about you. But it's odd. What do you think that if she came back into your life, how do you think she would add to it?
I would feel whole again because she's like family.
You know what?
Um,
Listen, I understand that it's nice to get back with a family member and you just feel like, everything's good, but you don't need somebody else to make you feel whole. You don't. And if you rely on somebody else to make you happy, that is a no-win situation. And I've been married for a long time, it's like I can't rely on her to keep me happy. I can't rely on that. You got
no,
yeah.
I don't mean for her to keep me happy. It just was like her mom practically raised me, and when her mom passed away, and she didn't even let me know her mom died. And I understand that because she may have not wanted me at her mom's funeral, because that was her mom, not my mom, and I get that. But like I said, her mom practically raised me. What's so funny about this is I was kind of pining away, and I came across this show called House Calls, and it's on the Discovery Channel. And that's when it was Raven and her mom on the show talking about the house being haunted. And I never felt anything in the house. And it was just so weird watching that on TV. I'm like, I grew up in that house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what reopened everything. We're watching the show and seeing everything being played out on TV. And I didn't realize how bad it was with her and her mom. I just thought her mom yelled a lot. I didn't know her mom.
Well, then that's where you probably should start a conversation with her.
But she won't even talk.
Well, maybe an email or a letter or whatever it is that people do. Just saying, hey, this isn't an attempt to get back with you, but after seeing the show, after seeing things like that, I didn't realize how tough things were for you, and I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And then just let it go, just like we talked with Matt about, just being unconditional about it all.
Well, I mean, you ask me who do I think about all the time, and I don't harp on it. She knows the door is open, but I'm not going to push it.
Well, good.
So that's how I've left it.
Well, be patient, keep being you, and keep moving on.
I don't. You can't make her move.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, you can't control a person. They're going to do what they want to do.
They can barely control ourselves.
I just like to let her know the door is open, and she wants me to be her friend. I'm there. If she doesn't, I'm giving her space. And I, to quite honest with you, I did move on. And then I got sick, and everything's at a halt. But things were going pretty well, and I had other friends, and I was doing pretty good. But there was always still that something missing, and now that I'm sick, it kind of makes it worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's, I'm looking at some of these comments in the chat room, which, by the way, thank you, chat guys. Larry says sometimes people just move on for themselves, and if others don't understand it, it's not a judgment thing. It's just an observation. And Larry's absolutely right. People outgrow one another. And especially when you get older, you start knowing more what you don't want than what you want. And some people don't want drama. Some people don't want somebody who's talking about themselves all the time. Some people don't want to drive 20 minutes to see a friend. There's a lot of different don't wants in there. And unfortunately, as we age, our circles become smaller, and you try to make them tighter, and you try to make them tighter and all that stuff. But this is just a normal thing. This is nothing that's specific for you. This isn't just a thing, you're not going through this alone is what I'm trying to say. Everybody has people that they would like to reconnect with and go back to the past and have some laughs and whatnot, but people do move on, and you can't take it personal. You just can't, although this one does sound a little personal. She's ignoring you for a reason. Honor it. Don't push too hard, and you're going to be fine, Sandy. And keep working on yourself. I see you online doing that, and I'm really proud of you. You've gone through a lot of stuff, and it's
you have no idea. Well, maybe you do. What may I ask? What did your dad have?
What did my dad have?
You said he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, my dad was in a wheelchair. I guess all of my life. I was the youngest of 4. The next closest to me was, 10, 12 years older than me. And my dad had rheumatoid arthritis is what he had. And he had 2 new knees, 2 new wrists, 2 new hips. Excruciating. He had on his toes, he had metal sticking out of the end of his toes. This is many, many years ago. My dad died when I was 18 years old. And my mom passed
How
away.
old was he?
I don't even know. In his 50s, 60, maybe 60 something. I don't know. And then my mom died when I was 20. So I know the struggle. And one of the things that I always felt bad because I didn't have a father or even a mother in that instance. Everybody, my parents were so much older than all my friends' parents. I couldn't play catch with my dad. I couldn't do all this stuff. And he was in a wheelchair, and I was young enough to where I was embarrassed by that. I remember at a little league game, my dad was sitting out in the outfield in his wheelchair, and I'm so mad at myself right now still because I was so embarrassed by the whole thing. And the good stuff, and what I learned later is that because of my father and because I had to help all the time, I had to help him get up and down. I had to help him go to the bathroom. I had to help him in the shower. I had to do all kinds of different things. Because of my father's illness, I am very sensitive and aware when somebody around me needs help. And I'm not trying to make myself feel better or anything like that or make myself look good, but I'm always the first to hold a door. I'm always the first to help an old guy get out of a car. I'm always the first to do anything for anybody, strangers that I don't know. And that came directly because of what I thought was a painful childhood. It made me a better person. So you're in the process of finding out something about yourself that you have no idea, Sandy. So there you go. Sandy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I hope you know that.
That guy was talking earlier, not to be offensive to Terry, but back in the day, Terry had a reputation of being a dick.
Oh yeah,
But
I still can. I still go into dick mode if I need
just
to.
always knew you had a good heart. I mean, I just thought it was that.
It's not an act. That's unfair, and that tries to make me look like I'm a little better. I have parts of me that I needed to work on, and I was able to use my radio show as a excuse for being kind of an asshole. People laughed, when I was a dick, people laughed at it, and then I just turned it up a notch, not even caring who it hurt, not even caring any of that. And you know what? I still will be a dick if I have to. If I feel that I need to stand up for myself.
That's not being a dick.
Well, some people will call you that, but
not being someone to step over you is not being a dick. It's just not putting up with people's crap.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sandy. You're awesome, and I appreciate you joining me tonight. And you have a great rest of the week. Okay.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh, God. Oh, God, I love this. God, I love this. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for calling. Thanks for being part of it. I really appreciate it. I will do this another couple times this week. I'm going to adjust I don't know if I should do it at night. I think that if I do it during the day, a lot of people probably wouldn't feel comfortable enough to call if they're at work or something like that. But I don't want it to only be, I'm going to just adjust a bunch of different times. But I just want to ask you guys if you could share it and if you could like it and you could comment, maybe write a review. I don't know how you do these things, but it would mean the world to me. I really think that this is even my wife, the very first time I did it, my wife is a pretty tough critic of mine, being around me, Mr. Jokey joke all the time. If I get a laugh from her, it's great. And I've thrown so many ideas at her that she's kind of like, oh, another idea. Here you go. But when I finished the very first trial episode of this last week, she actually saw my look in my face. She overheard some of it. And she said that, you know what, you might have found your calling here. And maybe I have. maybe I have. I'm going to keep exploring. I can't do it without you. I can't do it without the phone calls and your willingness to open up your heart, to open up your soul, and to talk about some things that might be embarrassing. Because I have no problem sharing with you. These are great conversations. So thanks again for for being here tonight for Make It Weird. And you guys have a great rest of the week. And I'll be back sometime later on this week to do another episode. Thanks so much, guys. This really means a lot to me. Thank you so much.